Hello, group 1, welcome to a reading. First, let's see which ancestral energy is stepping forward to support and protect you. We have the Hangman and the Moon. At the bottom of the deck, we have Three of Swords. The very first thing I felt was incredibly strong. This ancestor is highly spiritual and sensitive. They could perceive things that most people simply couldn't see or understand. Throughout their life, they probably felt like an outsider. It's almost like the characters we see in movies, like someone has the ability to see those beings from other dimensions. Because they could witness more truth, more suffering, and more hidden realities than everyone else. They also carried far more pain. Other people couldn't truly understand your ancestor. They might understand you logically, but unless they would experience those visions firsthand, they could never truly understand what your ancestor felt. What I'm seeing now is that this ancestor has chosen to exist within an independent spiritual realm, a space disconnected from all other worlds, distant from external disruptions. Within that sacred space, they can honor suffering. Honoring pain is their chosen mission. Not because they are trapped in grief, but because they believe suffering itself contains wisdom. Pain reflects truth, just as the moon reflects light. During the daytime, like people think, dancing order is to see. Everything seems obvious and illuminated. Feels like we know everything. But when night falls, hidden truths begin to emerge. Those are the truths that deserve to be explored, remembered, and protected. Interestingly, I don't actually feel this ancestor necessarily lived in a tragic life. The Hangman speaks more about voluntarily sacrificing comfort in pursuit of spiritual growth. So it's very possible they came from a loving, abundant, or privileged background. Yet they were naturally drawn toward understanding pain, tragedy, and the deeper layers of existence. Their greatest strength was the power of their heart. The moon talks about that to receive higher truth. We first have to empty ourselves. We cannot hold on to judgment, assumptions, or fixed expectations while trying to receive truth. But your ancestor had a unique way of doing this. Through self-discipline, they concentrated all of their energy into their heart, because only a true strong heart can hold suffering. Only a strong heart can protect the truth. There is a quiet heroism surrounding this ancestor. They believed truth should never be forgotten, even if protecting it meant witnessing pain, honoring pain, or even experiencing it personally. Now I want to share a personal impression because we are talking about your ancestor, and also because they are your ancestor, there's a good chance you've inherited some of their qualities. For example, imagine you are reading about a sad or crucial historical event. Most people may view it as a distant history, as facts recorded in a textbook. But I feel you are different. When you receive certain information, your body responds. You don't just understand it mentally, you actually feel it. You'd experience a very real physical sense of pain. So for those of you who chose Pile 1, if you ever wondered whether you are too sensitive, whether you are overreacting, or why everyone else seems able to move on while you cannot, it's not because you are imagining things or you are weak. It's because everyone's level of perception is different. Others might only feel 1/3 of pain you'd experience from the same experience. The emotional intensity coming through these three cards is incredibly raw and direct. So regardless of your career, your lifestyle, or how your life appears on the outside, if you will simply manage to keep going, that alone is something extraordinary. You've been carrying far more than most people realize. And next, let's see what gift your ancestors are passing on to you. We have the Five of Swords in reverse and Nine of Wands. At the bottom of the deck, we have Six of Cups. Your ancestor wants you to understand one thing above all else. You are safe. No matter what is happening around you, no matter how chaotic life feels, you are safe because they have never stopped watching over you. One of the gifts you've inherited is remarkable discernment. When something feels off, you will know. Even if someone appears completely trustworthy on the surface, you can eventually see through them. Sometimes you don't even need to meet a person directly. Your mind will spontaneously generate vivid impressions, almost like intuitive previews of what's coming. And when I say someone, this doesn't only refer to people. It could be a work environment or a difficult situation or even a disaster, especially during times when rumors spread rapidly or public opinion becomes chaotic. you are surprisingly calm and clear-headed. That clarity isn't based solely on logic. It almost comes from your ability to understand human nature. Your perspective may be very different from the majority, so instead of confronting people head-on, you quietly prepared yourself. You make plans, you are well prepared. Now let's also be honest with ourselves. Sometimes those preparations come from fear rather than confidence. You may constantly wonder, what if something goes wrong? What if I don't make it to the end? What if my intuition is wrong? But your ancestor wants you to know, it doesn't actually change the outcome. You still arrive exactly where you are meant to be. The only difference is that you spend the journey worrying more than necessary. But the Five of Swords in reverse and the Nine of Wands suggest that challenges might simply be part of your life path. Perhaps your work itself is demanding, or you are frequently placed in situations that require resilience and courage. Yet, the Six of Cups softens all of the tension with unconditional love. Your connection with your ancestor is much stronger than you realize. Some of you may have experienced moments where it almost feels like your ancestors are walking through you, as though they are borrowing your body for just a moment, helping you solve a problem, or quietly taking care of something in your life. It's a fascinating feeling. It's like being deeply loved by yourself, yet somehow knowing that this love isn't coming entirely from you. Imagine someone who's normally carefree, but suddenly becoming unusually meticulous, and because of that tiny shift, they avoid disaster or accomplish something incredible. I feel experiences like that will happen more and more often. You'll notice life beginning to unfold in your favor almost effortlessly. You won't feel the need to constantly manifest or perform spiritual rituals. Yet somehow, things keep aligning, almost as though someone has already made a wish on your behalf. Some of you may even feel as though you are your own ancestor, as if half of your soul exists in the physical world while the other half remains in the spiritual realm. How you interpret that is entirely up to your own experience. And finally, let's see where this ancestral gift will lead you once you fully embrace it. We have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, and the Three of Cups. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Fool. Okay, the moment I turned over the Wheel of Fortune, I actually mistook it for the Ten of Cups. And combined with the Fool, that immediately told me something important. You're going to experience a kind of fulfillment that looks completely different from everyone else. Your definition of happiness isn't meant to fit society's expectations. So Pile 1, please don't become attached to other people's ideas of what success or happiness should look like, because your vision of happiness is wonderfully unique. In fact, it may be something you can't even imagine yet. What's especially interesting is that the Wheel of Fortune appeared reversed. For you, moving forward actually means returning to something from the past. You are growing younger in spirit, and you are simplifying your life. You are releasing society's expectations and returning to the blessings your ancestors have always intended for you. I also see old relationships transforming. Some will heal naturally, others will come to a peaceful end without conflict. Some of you may unexpectedly leave a relationship or workplace or environment. Perhaps you've been afraid that starting over would be overwhelming, that you'd have to face uncertainty alone. But something remarkable happens the moment you choose yourself. A completely new group of people appears. New friendships, new communities, new opportunities. There isn't even much of a transition period. One chapter ends, and the next begins almost seamlessly. You'll regain your freedom, but you won't be lonely. You'll truly understand that once you make the decision to move forward, the universe will immediately send people to meet you where you are. And that's a beautiful message. The oracle card we have here is regeneration. The moment I saw this card, one word came into my mind immediately is awakening. I truly believe that by watching this reading today, you are stepping onto the path you are meant to walk. Some of you may have spent years resisting the gifts your ancestors were trying to give you. Perhaps your intuition felt too overwhelming, too complicated, or too emotionally heavy. Maybe you believed life would be easier if you stayed superficial, if you blended in, if you stopped feeling so deeply. But you are not a superficial soul. You were never meant to numb yourself. And eventually, pretending became far more exhausting than simply embracing who you truly are. And combined with the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, this card also brings another beautiful message. Something you once believed was completely over, a dream that failed, an opportunity you gave up on, or something you thought could never succeed, will return to you in a much better form. This is another blessing from your ancestors, and that's something truly worth celebrating. I wish you every blessing, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello Group 2, welcome to your reading. First, let's see which ancestral energy is stepping forward to support and protect you. We have Six of Pentacles and Emperor. At the bottom of the deck, we have Nine of Pentacles. Okay, your ancestor carries incredibly powerful, abundant energy, but at the same time, they're also deeply generous. These three cards immediately give me the feeling of someone from a successful business family or someone who built an impressive legacy through business. Your ancestor had an incredible instinct for spotting opportunities. It wasn't something they learned from books or formal education. It was simply a natural gift. They were also good at exchanging resources and building mutually beneficial relationships. They never obsessed over short-term gains. Instead, they always thought about the long game. Because their determination was so strong, people often mistook it for stubbornness. But that's not what it was. Your ancestor simply saw further ahead than most people. Very early on, they were already thinking about how to make everything sustainable and self-sustaining, not just their business, but also partnerships, reputation, and influence within the industry. They wanted every investment to continue creating value long after the initial effort. This ancestor dreamed big, acted boldly, and lived from a place of abundance, not just financially, but spiritually as well. Another thing I'm picking up is a healthy sense of self-worth. Even when they entered negotiations from a weaker position, people still respected them because of the strength of their character. They were ambitious, but never impatient. They trusted the power of compound growth. They believed success came from consistency, planning, and time. They also had amazing ability to learn from others. Whenever they saw a better method or strategy, they will adopt it and improve themselves. What's interesting is that none of these qualities feel learned. They feel innate, almost like someone who naturally taught themselves everything and steadily built themselves into the person they became. And this isn't limited to business. I'm also sensing leadership with politics, family, or the community. This ancestor carries a very strong pioneer energy, leadership, and authority. So I don't know where you are in your life right now. Maybe you are thinking about starting a business or building a career or launching a personal brand or creating something on your own. Even if you don't consider yourself ambitious, even if you are naturally someone who avoids competition, I actually feel this ancestor stepping in very strongly, almost saying, I'm handing this gift over to you right now. The energy of inheritance is incredibly powerful here, and I believe you'll receive it just as steady as your ancestor once carried it. You'll eventually express these gifts in your own unique way. I'm also getting the sense that many of you already have a relatively stable foundation in life, and because of that, this next chapter isn't about survival. It's about building something greater, growing your wealth, growing your character, and growing your legacy. And that's a beautiful message. Next, let's see what gift your ancestors are passing on to you. We have the Chariot, Ten of Wands. At the bottom of the deck, we have Seven of Wands. Okay, this is such an inspiring energy. Earlier, I already mentioned that your ancestor feels very self-made, someone who built themselves from the ground up. These cards confirm exactly that. If you've been wanting to make something big happen, but somehow your energy never feels focused, or maybe fear has been stopping you from taking action, I really feel that you're about to receive a powerful energetic boost from your ancestor. The first thing you notice is that your inner world becomes smoother. You stop fighting yourself, replaying mistakes mentally, stop criticizing yourself over every little thing. Your mind and heart finally stop pulling in opposite directions, and the moment your inner world becomes united, your biggest enemy disappears. The Seven of Wands usually talks about defending yourself against outside challenges, but I actually think you're about to realize something surprising. You don't really have any enemies. You don't really have people trying to sabotage you. Or even if they exist, they will never actually have that much power over you. Your biggest obstacle has always been the conflict within yourself. But once you make peace with yourself, once you become internally aligned, you'll suddenly feel motivated again, energized and inspired. The feeling reminds me of someone who's been carrying a heavy backpack for years and finally takes it off. Suddenly, walking feels effortless, almost like you are floating. Now, of course, we also have to be realistic. Every meaningful dream comes with challenges and responsibilities. The bigger the vision, the bigger the responsibility. So these challenges won't magically disappear, but what your ancestor is giving you is extraordinary perseverance and an incredible sense of self-mastery. The Ten of Wands tells me that, just like your ancestor, your vision is a long-term one. You are building something that takes time. This isn't meant to happen overnight. If you constantly force yourself to keep pushing without rest, eventually you'll lose your passion. You'll burn yourself out. Some of you may already feel like you are there, exhausted, mentally drained, or running on empty. If that's your situation, I think that's exactly why your ancestor is stepping in so strongly right now. You might even want to pause this video for a moment and simply meditate on the energy of the Emperor. The Emperor isn't someone who bows under pressure, who's afraid to stop and breathe. This is someone with tremendous confidence, inner authority, courage, wisdom, and self-respect. Your ancestor is passing those qualities directly to you. So whenever you face challenges, adjust your pace. Don't create unnecessary inner conflict. Don't attack yourself. And most importantly, don't tell yourself, oh, maybe I should just give up. Your ancestor wants you to know that resting is allowed. Rest is not failure. It's not falling behind. Rest is simply rest. It's how you reconnect with yourself and restore your energy. And once you've rested, you keep moving forward. One more thing. The combination of the Chariot and the Ten of Wands makes me feel that what you are working on could have real significance in the future. I'm not saying that just to make the reading fit your ego. It's genuinely what I'm feeling. Some of you are building something that could make a meaningful difference in people's lives. For some, it may even save lives, support communities, or create lasting positive change. Yes, the road there will be challenging, but if that's you, I hope this reading encourages you, because your ancestors are actively supporting your journey. And a final message from the Seven of Wands and the Chariot. In your case, going slowly is actually the fastest way forward. Sometimes pausing is progress. Every time you have the courage to slow down, to stay grounded, to be patient, you are actually accelerating your future. So rest and keep going. Finally, let's see where this ancestral gift will lead you once you embrace it. You have strength and Eight of Swords. At the bottom of the deck, we have Ten of Pentacles. This is incredibly uplifting. The very first thing I want to say is this: you are your ancestors' pride. You always have been. No matter how much you've doubted yourself, no matter how harshly you've judged yourself, your ancestors have always been proud of you. Although this ancestor appeared as the Emperor, I don't feel they accomplished everything they dreamed of. That's why the earlier bottom card was the Nine of Pentacles. They achieved a great deal, but there were still dreams left unfinished. And here's the beautiful part. You can finish what they couldn't. You can accomplish something your ancestor never had a chance to complete, and you do it successfully. You're healing a pattern that has existed within your family line for generations. When I look at the Strength card, I feel that in the past, your energy tended to swing between extremes. One moment you felt unstoppable, the next you had no energy at all. The reason is that your motivation used to come from the ego. Maybe you spent too much energy trying to earn other people's approval, even when their approval had nothing to do with your true purpose. Or maybe you constantly feel you have to prove yourself. So whenever you'd experience a setback, you collapse emotionally because you were worrying about what other people thought of you. But look at the Strength card. The child doesn't act to impress anyone. A child acts from pure curiosity and genuine joy. If they make a mistake, they simply make a mistake. If they embarrass themselves, so what? It's not the end of the world. And honestly, if it really were the end of the world, nobody would have time to laugh at you anyway. From the Chariot to Strength, the moment you stop fighting yourself, your true power comes back immediately. It's innocent, natural, and pure. You don't have to force it. It's simply who you are. It's like an adult trying to act childlike. That takes effort. But a child doesn't try to be authentic. They simply are. And once your inner world becomes united, your outer world begins responding in the same way. I also want to acknowledge something about your ancestor. Yes, they achieved success, but they spent an enormous amount of energy battling themselves along the way. That's how they reached the Nine of Pentacles. You, however, are learning something different through their blessing. You're learning inner alignment. You are no longer wasting energy fighting yourself. And because of that, you move naturally from the Nine of Pentacles to the Ten of Pentacles, to lasting abundance. Honestly, this reading feels like the most satisfying success story, but not the kind of fantasy we usually see online. It's grounded, healthy, and deeply inspiring. And I think this is exactly the kind of success story the world needs more of. For the oracle card we have here is Happy Happy, and this is another number 8 card. I genuinely feel like you are entering a very fortunate chapter of your life. Deep down, I think you already know things have started shifting, but what's coming next may feel like you are flying. The only guidance your ancestors want to leave you with is this: know when to push and know when to pause. Stay flexible and balanced. If you notice yourself feeling lighter, more relaxed, more at peace, that's your sign that you're moving in the right direction. Thank you so much to everyone who chose Pile 2. I wish you nothing but the very best, and I'll see you in the next reading. Hello Group 3, welcome to your reading. First, let's see which ancestral energy is stepping forward to support and protect you. We have the Fool and the Magician. At the bottom of the deck, we have Page of Wands. Okay, my first impression is that this ancestor was impossible to hold down. Their energy was wild, free, and impossible to control. They were also incredibly charming and magnetic. This ancestor had many talents. They had the ability to create wealth and could have easily achieved the kind of success most people dream about. But instead, they became passionate about unusual subjects that most people didn't care about. Everyone around them thought they were wasting their talent. People probably said, "You have so much potential, why aren't you doing something more practical?" But your ancestor never felt the need to explain themselves. They would simply laugh and make a little joke and move on. They were mentally very independent and had deep confidence in themselves, not because they believed they would always succeed, but because they believed their work had a higher purpose. Their ideas were far ahead of their time. Other people thought they were daydreaming. They thought their ideas were unrealistic, but your ancestor already knew the result existed. People just couldn't see it yet. The good thing is, this ancestor had a very open mind. They had pride, but they were not arrogant, so they were not easily influenced by other people. But at the same time, they didn't waste energy fighting with people either. What's interesting is that no one really understood what they were doing. People didn't understand why they chose this path, yet they couldn't help being drawn to them. They always wanted to know them a little better. Your ancestor wasn't trying to be mysterious. They didn't hide themselves on purpose. People simply couldn't understand the way they thought, and your ancestor was completely okay with that. They didn't need everyone to understand them. They were not hurt by being misunderstood. Throughout their life, they stayed curious, energetic, and loved experimenting. For most people, an unexpected result would feel like failure. For your ancestor, it was exciting, like a surprise. I also said their energy was hard to control because they followed their own rhythm. Sometimes they would travel everywhere exploring the world. Then suddenly, they stayed home for a month and enjoyed being alone. Then one day, they'd head off on another adventure. Even though they were warm, friendly, and full of life, people around them sometimes felt insecure because they were impossible to predict. They probably didn't care much about luxury or comfort, but they needed lots of personal space and freedom. Their life feels both fulfilled and a little unfinished, because their curiosity never ended. There was always one more truth they wanted to discover. Since we are looking at your ancestors' energy, I believe you inherited many of these same qualities. For those of you who chose Pile 3, I feel that when you were younger, it may have been difficult to fit into society. Maybe you still don't completely fit in now, but it doesn't bother you as much anymore. Like your ancestor, your spirit is free. You don't force yourself. You don't force other people either. And because there's always something new catching your attention, you naturally stop focusing on the feeling of not fitting in. There is something very relaxed and refreshing about your energy. Next, let's see what gift your ancestors are passing on to you. We have Knight of Cups and Five of Cups. At the bottom of the deck, we have Three of Wands in reverse. This is really interesting. I actually feel that many of you in Pile 3 haven't had many romantic relationships, and some of you may have never been in one at all. That's because you've spent so much of your energy exploring your own inner world, your thoughts, your ideas, your spiritual life. And compared to that, emotional connections in the physical world haven't felt as important. And some of you may even believe you'll never be in a relationship, or maybe you simply don't feel interested in one. But here's the beautiful part. The gift your ancestor is bringing you is a genuine emotional connection. This could be love, a deep friendship, or even a meaningful family bond. And this person isn't far away. They're already somewhere around your everyday life. This person is loyal and romantic, maybe a little idealistic, but because they also value deeper meaning, they are able to accept the depth and the width of your mind. They may not fully understand everything you think about, but they understand why your inner world matters so much to you. Because they also have their own spiritual or creative journey, so they won't force society's expectations onto you. Instead, they'll give you a safe place where you feel respected and accepted. Honestly, the more I describe this connection, the more beautiful it feels. Your ancestor is incredibly thoughtful. They know you so well. I feel you will inherit your ancestors' way of thinking, but deep inside, even if you don't admit it or you don't recognize it, you still long for real human warmth. I can see that very clearly. This connection is one of your ancestors' blessings. This person isn't part of your close circle yet, but they already notice you. They are quietly watching from a respectful distance. The reason they haven't stepped forward is because they think you might still be healing from a previous relationship. Or maybe they feel you're about to leave your current environment, so they are waiting for one friendly signal from you. The moment you acknowledge them, or smile, or just simply say hello, they'll naturally come closer. These cards also carry another important message. Your ancestor wants you to remember that your rich inner world needs a stable physical life to support it. If your everyday life lacks warmth, your spiritual world can slowly become a place to hide instead of a place to truly grow, and that can limit your potential. The Three of Wands in reverse tells me that your first priority is to build stability where you are now. Don't worry so much about the future yet. And part of creating that stability is allowing yourself to receive help from others. Your ancestor is sending this sincere connection into your life, so don't forget to receive the gift. And finally, let's see where this ancestral gift will lead you. We have King of Pentacles and Hermit. At the bottom of the deck, we have Four of Pentacles. Okay, I feel this matches the previous message perfectly. In many ways, this connection becomes your foundation, your safe place. Not because you will depend on this person for everything, but because they'll give you this freedom to make mistakes. They'll support you while you are learning. I feel that everyone in Pile 3 has incredible inner wealth. Your imagination, your ideas, and your wisdom. But what's been missing is a practical system to turn those ideas into something real. That's exactly what this connection brings. It gives you ideas structure, a process, a way to turn inspiration into reality. Your brilliant ideas finally have a blueprint. From that point on, you won't be relying on luck anymore. Your inner gifts, combined with the real-world skills, mean that you only need a little bit of luck to achieve amazing results. Your choosing image is a crystal cave, and these cards are full of earth energy. It feels like you're finally ready to let go of unrealistic fantasies. With your ancestors' blessing, and with support from the right people, you're ready to build something real. You're ready to turn your ideas into actual work. One thing I find really interesting is this. The less attached you are to money, the easier money flows to you. The Four of Pentacles tells me you actually don't need very much. Your lifestyle is simple. That means creating stability is easier than you think. If we compare it to starting a business, the amount of money you truly need to begin is probably much smaller than you imagined. Everything else can continue growing over time. These cards make me feel that your dream is much achievable than you think. You're not lacking resources, You are not lacking talent. You are simply missing the right process. And this sincere connection may even be a mentor or someone who truly wants to see you succeed. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. What matters is that they genuinely believe in you. The oracle card we have here is the Treasure Island. This pile has incredibly strong abundance energy. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about your creations, your ideas, your inner wisdom finally becoming something people can see, experience, and benefit from. The treasure on this card represents something you've been carrying inside you. And now you're finally finding the blueprint to bring it into the real world. And that's amazing. When this card appears, it's a sign that you're already on a path to abundance. Yes, there will still be work to do, but the abundance is just as real. So congratulations to everyone who chose Pile 3. I wish you all the very best, and I'll see you in the next reading.